Well, hey everyone, Wayne Fox here. You know, Orico recently asked if I'd like to take a look at their little docking station for iPhone, or I guess probably any smartphone, M.2 magnetic docking station. And I thought, yeah, sure. You know, lately I've been buying iPhones with less memory because I don't really need them that much because everything's on the cloud, except when I use it as a camera. And the nice thing about this, it's a m.2, so it actually will hold a 2230, I think that's the format, m.2 SSD, which can hold up to 2 or maybe even 4 terabytes. I thought, yeah, I'd love to take a look at it. So they sent me one. My only obligation is I make a video, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to open this up. I'm going to use it for a week or two, and then come back and see if it's really useful. It does a lot more than just store memory. So let's take a look at this thing. It's pretty small. Notice that it comes in.
Hey, hang on a sec. You know, I thought I'd do this outside. It's a nice morning. I'm testing out my new DJI microphone. I got tired of trying to use Bluetooth. And with this device, it's pretty cool, as you'll see in just a second. Before I get into the box opening, I thought I need to show this device so that you kind of know if you want to watch the rest of the video. Now, if you're a content creator or doing any kind of filming with your smartphone, this could be really, really handy. I didn't think I would use it much, but whenever I use my iPhone to record now, I probably will use it. Usually when I'm doing that, I'm on a tripod like I am now, and a little shot of it right here. And I think that for a content creator or people that do a lot of video, a lot of advantage to this. Let me just show you how I hooked it up though real quick. Hang on, let me use my little new camera I got. Okay, so I've got mine mounted on this little mount here. It's pretty cool. My phone attaches to this magnetically. Pretty easy to pop off and on. And on the other side, I've used the ring that comes with this Orico device. The heat's making it sort of come loose, but we'll talk about that in a second. But I put that on the other side so I can attach this to the back of this mount. I've got my DJI receiver in the bottom. I've got an SD card over here. I could put an HDMI monitor in the top so I could actually see myself. So overall, it's really pretty good setup for this kind of a thing. Okay, so let's talk about why this is an advantage. As you can see, one advantage is I've got everything I need. I've got external saving of files. I've got my DJI receiver in there, which is much more reliable to record to a smartphone for audio than it is if you are trying to use Bluetooth. And overall, it gives you the ability to store a lot of data, but the big advantage is when it comes time to transfer that data. Now, this file will be a little large. It's going to be several minutes long. I'm trying 3 or 4 takes of it, but I can transfer that in mere seconds because I've got USB 3.2 speed, which is about 10 gigabits a second, versus the fastest SD card, which is, I think, what, 170 megabytes a second, maybe 300. So transferring these files, which are fairly large, is pretty simple, pretty straightforward, and so that's one big advantage. Added to the fact that you can put up to 2 terabytes in there, so you can do a lot of recording on this thing. Now, a couple things to mention: only some apps can record to the external card. For example, the built-in iPhone app can only record to that external device if you're using ProRes. And a lot of content creators might do that, but some might not. And to get around that, most of the time you'll just use another app. Now, Blackmagic Cam is the one I typically use. A lot more flexibility, and right now it's recording to the external device. Final Cut Camera, I believe, also will record to that, and probably a few others. And I think a lot of content creators and others that do a lot of video with these devices are using other apps besides the one that's built into the phone. So in that case, you know, not a big deal. I like Blackmagic Cam just because it kind of got used to it. As far as the other challenge with it, it will get really hot if you use an SSD, probably too hot to really hold or handhold or touch. They get hot, and the case itself is the heat sink, which transfers the heat out and keeps it from overheating, but that means that case gets really hot. Now, if you don't have an SSD in it, if you're just using it to record to an SD card and for other things, it's just warm to the touch. It's not a problem. So anyway, that is a little bit of a downside, but of course, throwing a 2 terabyte SSD in there and doing, you know, literally probably hours of recording, especially if you're using ProRes, those files can get really big, and it certainly will help a lot to have this much storage. So anyway, I thought I'd throw that in before I do the rest of the video. I think it's important to give you an idea of what you might be able to do with it. Let's go ahead and get into the box opening now.
Notice that it comes in matching colors toward for the iPhone. I had them send me the color that my iPhone is. See what it looks like in here. Oh, all kinds of stuff falling out the bottom. We'll get to that in a second. Oh, yeah, it's pretty small. Oh, okay. Set that aside, set that aside. Take a quick look. And here's my phone. Color matches pretty well. Looks like I need to clean that out. Oh, yeah. Pops on there pretty good. I've got a case on mine that's designed to be mag safe, but even with that, it's still pretty firm. I wouldn't have, it's not going to fall off. So pretty nice. Looks pretty good. See what else comes in the box. Looks like we got a ring, and this must be designed for phones that don't have a magnetic attachment. So if your phone doesn't have a magnetic back, then this would allow you to use it. Looks like we have a nice USB-C cable, and it's looks like it's designed pretty well. It's a flat. Looks like it's just long enough to plug into the phone. We'll try that in a second. We have a little screwdriver here and a little bag with a couple of thermal pads and a small screw. Well, let's take a look at the ports real quick. We have two USB Type-C ports here. This one here is to connect to your camera or to your computer. This is a power delivery port, so you can supply power to the phone from an auxiliary such as a power brick or something like that. Very handy. We have Type C and Type A USB 3.2 ports here, which support USB drives, at least normal drives that won't support a USB SSD, I found. Main thing it supports is a receiver for a microphone, which I found very helpful. SD TF card slot. I think these are SD 3.0, so they're not quite as fast as some. Still fast enough for most. It's certainly fast enough to record to. And then here we have that HDMI port, which you could connect an external monitor, or in you're traveling, this is connect to a TV from your phone. You could actually use the phone to a monitor or a TV with this. And then we have an audio in, combined audio in, audio out port here. So quite a few ports. So this holds an m.2 2230 form factor, which is these little short ones. And I really didn't want to pay a lot of money for one because I'm not sure how much I'll use it. I actually record with other cameras, but I only use the phone once in a while. But I did find this one pretty reasonable compared, if you can call any SSD reasonable nowadays. This Orico or whatever, 512 gigabytes. And so I grabbed that to put in there. So it looks like we just need to remove this one little screw right here. Where did I see that? Right there. Okay. And this inserts just like a full-size SSD. About a 30-degree angle, pop it in. It should go down fine, it does. Okay, I don't know if you can see this. I've had this with a couple of Orico products. There's actually a little seal over the top of that screw opening, so the screw wouldn't go in there. I think I should be able to just scrape that off with my fingernail. Yeah, you see it's actually a copper color. And so I've had that with another Orico product. I don't know if that's leftover from manufacturing or if they do it, but if you open this up and that's copper and not silver, then you need to probably peel that off. And I assume we just need to put one of these on. And then peel the plastic off the other side. This is always the hard part. There we go. I assume we have to kind of pop it back and in. Okay, well that thermal pad, as you can see, I have to squeeze that pretty tightly. So that's a good indication that the thermal pad is making really solid contact with the case. It's almost too thick, but it should be okay. And tighten it up. There we go. It's not very heavy, and it just pops on the back. We want to line it up so that the ports are like that. And then we're going to plug this into this middle port with this handy dandy cable into the bottom. Not bad. Okay, so before I use it, I've got to format the SSD, and you do that on a computer. And it looks like you can plug it into the port, the same port used for your phone. And we should get a message that it's not usable. Let's hit initialize. And that brings us here. And there it is. Let's hit erase. Now it says I have to use the exFAT format for the phone to be able to write to it. So we'll go here and we'll do exFAT. We'll call it iPhone Store. Oh, exFAT's, let's see. I forget you can only have like, I don't know, 12 characters. Let's go iPhone SSD. Now once it's mounted, at that point I should be able to plug it in my phone, and it should be accessible by certain programs, and I still have to learn about that. And now that it's formatted, let's open a Finder window, and there it is. Well, all in all, a really, really handy device. I've been using it quite a bit. I don't do a lot of video recording with my phone, but when I have, it's been really handy. I really like the fact that now that I've decided to use a transmitter-receiver combination for my microphones, it's easy to do with my phone when I'm using it as a camera, and not just with my Sony or my Fuji cameras or my other cameras that I have, my Insta360s. It's a pretty reasonable. I think you can pick it up for around $50, maybe $60 on Amazon, depends on the day. I'll have a link below if you want to grab one from that. Appreciate those that use the link. Overall, it seems like a great little device for a lot of people. Hopefully the video was helpful if you're trying to decide if you need one. If you have any questions, just hit me with a comment below. Until next time, see ya.